Hey guys, Kyle here with Hornbaker Acres. So on today's video, I want to go over frames. Now I'll be honest, when I first started thinking about doing this video, I didn't think there'd be much to it, but the more and more I thought about the video, the more and more I realized that there's some pretty pertinent information when dealing with frames that I think can be pretty useful for beekeepers, especially new beekeepers. So we're going to cover just a few items in this video. It's probably going to be fairly short, but again, I think the information that I'm going to cover is very pertinent for the new beekeeper. So let's jump right into it. One of the things I want to discuss is foundation frames versus foundationless frames. Now, especially for new beekeepers who have no idea what I'm talking about, maybe you're just looking into beekeeping and you've come across this video, you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to foundation frames. This is what I mean by foundation frame. All that means it's got a plastic sheet of pre-stamped foundation in there that has a pre-stamped honeycomb design on both sides, as you can see. And the bees build off of the foundation from there. Now, there's some benefits and drawbacks with using foundation. So I want to go over some of the benefits first. For one, it makes the comb stronger. So I used to go all foundationless until last summer when I had 15 of my colonies melt down from the sheer heat. Now there's a lot of variables with that. I didn't quite get to them in time to prop the tops. We had an extra dry and hot summer. They were all really new colonies as well. But it was enough of a reason for me to start switching to all foundation because I had such a loss because of the comb literally melting and dropping off. You know, it got so hot that the bees couldn't handle it. So the foundation helps prevent that. I have seen cases where even on foundation the comb will melt and drop down, but it's not as likely as it is when you're foundationless. Especially if you're using foundation in your extracting frames, whether it's shallows, mediums, or deeps. The foundation really helps hold the comb together on frames that are going to go into your extractor to extract honey from. Also, the foundation gives them a guide to make sure that they're building comb in the right direction and all kind of the same, and it just really helps give them a guide to build the comb straight and true. So now, what are some of the drawbacks to it? Well, for one, the cost. I think I calculated out foundation, if you buy it in bulk in like 100 sheets or something like that, it's about $1 a sheet, basically, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it does add up over time. We're talking for 2 deep boxes, that's an extra 20 bucks for 2 deep boxes, basically, and that's just for one colony. So the cost does add up over time. Another thing that I've noticed is that the bees actually, at least it's been my experience, the bees build slower on the foundation than they do if it was foundationless. Bees just don't like to build on plastic. So this foundation that I get from Man Lake, they say it's pre-waxed, and I can feel that there's a wax coating on there, but there's just not much to it. As you can see, there's just not much, like you can't really see the wax. Like I said, it's got a wax coating to it, but there's just not much to it. So I add extra, I don't know if you can tell the difference here. Let's do this comparison here. I add extra wax to my foundation, basically, okay? And that's pretty simple to do. What I do is I've got a chunk of just rendered wax here from one of my removals. I rendered some of the comb down. Just have a chunk of wax here, and it's pretty simple as I just rub it on the foundation itself, and that's it. And I've noticed that the acceptance rate is much greater when I pre-wax, or I won't say it's much greater, it's much faster, we'll put it that way. It's a lot faster, the acceptance rate anyway is a lot faster once I recoat the foundation with extra wax, kind of thing. So with that in mind, one of the issues that you might have with foundation is sometimes the bees, because they hate plastic so much is that they'll actually build off the face of the comb, and you'll end up with, I don't know if you can see here, you end up with a comb that kind of comes off the face of the comb and it droops down and detaches from the foundation a little bit. Not a huge deal. You just tear that chunk off and hopefully they build properly. You just keep correcting them, kind of thing. So that's foundation frames and some of the benefits and drawbacks, basically. Next, I want to go over foundationless frames. Now, if you do removals at all, you're gonna have some foundationless frames. That's all there is to it, because you're gonna want to wire up, or wire in some comb, basically, or rubber band in some comb that you removed. So you're gonna end up with some foundationless frames, regardless, if you do removals. So what I suggest is, I'm gonna bring this nice and close. You make up some frames with these. I think the size is called jumbo, actually. Jumbo popsicle sticks, basically. And I don't know if you can see, they're just glued into that track that normally the foundation would sit in. So what I've done is I just glued a couple of these jumbo popsicle sticks in there. And then I've used fishing line. This is 50-pound test fishing line, basically. And I've wired my frame. That's if I was going completely foundationless. This is the way I used to do it when I was completely foundationless. But if I'm using this frame just for removals, I wouldn't need to wire it necessarily. Maybe just the top one or something like that. If you're gonna wire in just a chunk of comb down here or something like that, you can always run some wires up top or something. But if you're gonna be doing removals, I highly suggest that you put together some frames that have this popsicle stick up here. That does a couple different things. For one, it acts as a guide, so that way they build their comb straight and they don't end up, here's the frames in this way, they don't end up building across between frames, basically. They still do it from time to time, but they're not as likely to do it with this popsicle stick here. Also, that creates extra surface area and strengthens that top connection of the comb, basically. Instead of the comb attaching just to a flat surface like this, it's now connecting to multiple surfaces because of this popsicle stick. And that seems to really help strengthen at least the attachment point of the comb all around that popsicle stick. Now, some of the benefits versus some of the downsides to foundationless are very similar to what I just talked about before. I will say that one of the benefits, obviously, is the cost. You don't have to buy the foundation. So, also one that most people don't talk about is the natural cell size. Now, if you decide all of a sudden to go foundationless, and that's completely up to you, that's your opinion on what you should and shouldn't do. If you decide to all of a sudden go foundationless and you had an entire foundation size, foundation frame colony, you will see a great increase in their drone productivity. That's because most foundation is stamped for worker cell size. Now, bees can still build drone cells on these. They just kind of overlap them, but it's not as often. So if you all of a sudden switch to foundationless, you'll notice a big increase in drone productivity, at least until they balance things out. Okay, because they'll start building more and more drone combs, since this is their first opportunity to do it. Since they have foundationless frames to do it in, they can kind of build whatever size comb that they want. So I prefer it that way. If I could, if it wasn't for the heat of Arizona, I would go all foundationless and let the bees decide where and when to build drones. I think it's important for their balance to have the amount of drones that they want. After all, they're the bees, they know what they're doing, is my thought on that. All too often we mess with them too much when they just kind of have things figured out. So anyway, I think that's about all I really wanted to cover in this video. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a short video, but there was some items that I thought was very pertinent when dealing with frames. So hopefully you found at least some value in this video. If you're new to the video, if you're new to the channel rather, make sure that you hit that subscribe button now, especially if you like content like this. If you're a new beekeeper, hit that subscribe button now. We try and do videos every week if we can. Also, make sure that you look through some of the videos that we've done in the past. We have a decent amount of videos now that we've done, so you'll probably find some good content from our previous videos. So make sure you look through those videos. Also, if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. It helps get that information out there. Helps increase popularity amongst the search ranks on YouTube and algorithm and all that crap. So also, while you're here, tell me if you are using foundationless or foundation frames, or maybe a bit of both, in the comments, and explain to me why. What are your thoughts? Let me know if some items that I may have missed when dealing with frames. I know I didn't really talk about like how to assemble them. There's hundreds of videos on how to assemble frames, so I figured I'd just let you do your own research on that. But also, you can check us out on Facebook. We upload content there as well. We are Hornbaker Acres LLC on Facebook. Make sure you like and subscribe there as well. One other place that you can go to that has a lot of information and resources is our website, which is www.hornbakeracres.com. On that website, we have lots of like articles like do-it-yourself projects or various informative articles. So we have a lot of great resources on there. We also talk about our live bee rescue on our website, so make sure you check us out there. But as I always say, guys, we truly appreciate all the love, kindness, and support that you show us here on YouTube and our Facebook page. God bless and happy beekeeping. The cell size, the actual size of the cells. Ow.